Text PREP to 42424. That's PREP to 42424.
This is Paul Feinbaum. That'll do it for me today. Coming up next, The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Carrabba's Italian Grill is the best place to enjoy authentic Italian cuisine, passed down from our founders' family recipes. Featuring a wood-burning grill, you can enjoy Carrabba's signature dishes, including chicken brine, wood-fired grilled steak and chops, and classic Italian pasta dishes. Have a special event? Elevate your catering with Carrabba's Catering, the perfect way to enjoy large party portions of your favorite hand-prepared dishes for any event. Carrabba's Italian Grill at Parkway Place, Huntsville.
Tom Abraham back from my friend Ross Roberts at Valley Equipment Rental. It's springtime, so let's get that garden tilled with a tiller from Valley Equipment. And while you're at it, snag a power washer for the house and the driveway. And if you're putting in a sprinkler system, they have the small trencher that you need. And you can even rent a Skag zero-turn mower and much more to get your property in shape. Valley Equipment, not just for the contractor, but the homeowner as well. 2 locations on the North and South Parkway. Valley Equipment Rental. Learn more at valleyequipmentrents.com.
I'm here with Thomas from Talent Heating and Air. With the temperatures going up and temperatures going down right now, now is a good time to get your heating and air system looked at. Thomas, when somebody calls, you guys answer.
That's right. The phones are staffed by us. They're manned 24/7. We're ready to come out and take care of you that day.
How do they give you guys a call?
You give us a call at 256-503-4490.
And you can find you guys on the World Wide Web at
talenthvac.com.
And now is a good time to do this because you guys are offering a special deal.
That's right. We're doing $49 tune-ups this spring. We're also doing free second opinions. We offer that year-round. Somebody comes out, they say you got a back compressor, leaking refrigerant. Give us a call, see if we can save you some money.
Thomas from Talent Heating and Air. Thomas, one more time, that phone number.
256-503-4490.
AL certain number 21014.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
You've seen those beautiful epoxy floors in a garage or carport area and have probably wondered, how can I get that done? Well, the answer is Lifetime Epoxy Floors. Lifetime Epoxy Floors is an A-plus rated business with the Better Business Bureau and has been family-owned for over 14 years. They do both residential and commercial applications and get most jobs done in a day. Lifetime Epoxy Floors' motto is, we love what we do, and it shows. Visit LifetimeEpoxyFloors.com to schedule a free estimate today and check them out on Facebook.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at jetsuperstore.com.
You know, this process is all about talking ball.
Listen to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond.
What did they want privacy for? To just start talking ball.
Every weekday morning, wake up with Scott and Drew. It's Talkin' Ball. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. This hour is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll, and I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
Always fun to be at a new place, and we are in Hampton Cove at Jefferson's here.
Well, one of my favorite places.
I was pausing for that very reason. there as probably one of the more well-known establishments down in Jacksonville.
Yes, that's where that's where the home store is. And if you went to Jacksonville State anytime in the last 30 years or so, if you know, you know. I'm glad to have them in the fold as a 97.7 ESPN The Zone sponsor.
Yeah, we're going to be here every other month from now until November.
Well, I got a couple of new ones open. One out by my house, and
that's where we're going to be in
July, and then one in Hartsville.
Slowly they're taking over the world. I'm here for it. You sure you guys don't need a field producer for this one?
Maybe in July.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, there you go.
We'll
I'll run the board from there. It'll be all right.
Yeah, and we'll try to maneuver that in July. This is our only show of the week. And yes, I know I'm talking to everybody on a Monday, 1 minute into the show, but the SEC baseball tournament is going to take over our airwaves. It is the one thing that we have done on this radio station since its birth. The SEC baseball tournament, squarely there in Hoover, Alabama. And the weather looks a little dicey tomorrow afternoon-ish. But other than that, in fact, it looks worse up here than it does down in Hoover.
Well, it doesn't matter if it's raining here.
It's always raining here.
Yeah, what is happening?
We have moved to the upper Northwest, it seems like.
It's like Seattle.
This is crazy. But
if you give Seattle humidity, that's what we are.
Yeah. I've never seen so much rain. I don't remember. I guess because it's every time I have to do something, it's raining outside.
I have moss growing on my north side.
Went into a sauna for the first time over the weekend, and I was like, oh, wow, this is Baton Rouge.
Yeah, exactly. Right where we used to set up.
Yes.
I mean, the wild thing about Baton Rouge, Louisiana, in the far parking lot where we used to park our RV, you see a ship that's 50 feet above you.
That's right.
Look above all the Mississippi.
Yeah.
You looked up at the Mississippi, and you just started thinking, that just.
And there was this little bank that was basically between you and the river.
Yeah, but you're below it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a very comforting feeling.
No.
I had a good friend that worked at a TV station in Baton Rouge. And I said, okay, so what's the weather like? He says, okay, imagine the inside of a dog's mouth. That's what Baton Rouge is.
That's a good, accurate description. Yeah.
The way I've always described it is you're wearing a sweater, whether you want one or not.
Yeah, it's unbelievably hot.
Yeah, and someone poured a bucket of water on it.
Well, that too. Yeah. It's so the SEC baseball tournament will take center stage. Texas is the 1 seed in the tournament, but they're not ranked number 1 overall. Arkansas is the 2 seed, but they're not ranked number 1 overall. The 3 seeds LSU, they are the nation's number 1 seed right now.
Isn't that crazy?
LSU's the 3 seed in the tournament, but the 1 seed seemingly if the tournament.
So how many teams do they
looks like about 13. We'll talk to Kyle Schasberger from the SEC Radio Network coming up here in about 20 minutes' time. Alabama gets the privilege of starting off the tournament tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. where the Crimson Tide takes on Mizzou, and the winner of that game will take on Tennessee the following morning, and then the winner of that game will take on Texas. So your buys, I kind of went through them a little bit with Texas, Arkansas, LSU, and Vanderbilt. Those are your double buys.
Those are the top 4 seeds.
Correct. Georgia ends up as the 5th seed. Auburn, the 6th seed. Auburn will take on the winner of Texas A&M, Mississippi State. That will be on Wednesday. And then Ole Miss is the 7 seed. Tennessee, the 8 seed. And Alabama, the 9 seed. So,
and 3 of those teams you just mentioned have won the national championship the last 5 years.
Yeah. Tennessee, your defending national champion.
And then Ole Miss
they're the 8 seed
before then, and Mississippi State before then.
Yeah.
And Mississippi State and Ole Miss didn't make the SEC tournament last year.
Well, but this is a different format. It's a single elimination. everybody makes the SEC baseball tournament now. And so you just have that opportunity
so single
to
elimination,
play. Single elimination the whole way through.
That's interesting.
One and done.
Is that because they have so many teams, or is this not as much influence on the tournament anymore?
There is more teams, and it would just, they would have to start the tournament. They would have had to start the tournament if for a double bye or a double elimination, maybe yesterday or the day before, to weed it out. And hopefully the baseball tournament will have better weather than the softball tournament had over in Athens, as they weren't able to play the championship game. So the commissioner awarded co-champions, and listening to the commissioner on the Feinbaum program, evidently he took a lot of heat for that and said, okay, all right, I realize winning the SEC championship is a big deal, and of course it is a big deal.
Right.
But there is no dome softball stadium at the moment. Give it some time. I've got a feeling.
So don't you? I think I think like the first four, I guess the 12, until you get to the final 8, it should be single elimination. Once you get to 8, it should be double. That's my opinion. The
last handful of years, it was double elimination on Tuesday to get to Wednesday, but after Tuesday was single elimination, but then Wednesday and Thursday was double elimination. Then the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, was also single elimination as well. The ACC media days, or the ACC spring meetings, have started down in Amelia Island, and Mario Cristobal was on the set of the ACC network, so I grabbed a little bit of audio from Mario. He was asked what needs to be fixed for college football. What needs to be fixed first, Coach?
Oh, man. Just the noise. Just get all the stuff out the way, and let's just play football, right? Let guys go to school. Let guys be college kids, right? Let them enjoy the process and get right after. I think we're taking the amateur model and trying to blend it with the professional model, and that's never worked. It's like you're one or the other. And trying to blend this thing requires a lot of figuring out, and that's why I think you see a lot of trial and error situations coming up year after year. So I think the effort's there by everybody. I think everybody wants to see college football in the best place possible. Certainly the viewership is, constantly going up. So there's a lot of positive things going on. But like anything else, if you want to be the best at what you do, you want to keep working at it. And I think everyone in the conference and in the country really is dedicated to making the game better.
I can only hope so, Coach. Can only hope so.
Well, he didn't give anything specific, though. He just wants it to be better. I mean, I think.
Get rid of all this negative noise surrounding it. But
needs to be fixed before you can do that.
Let's handle the portal first.
Yeah, I don't think it's really that hard to fix it. I really don't. I think that it's you should have one portal period a year, and come up with and they can do some collective bargaining and get the government involved in that. And I think if you did that, it wouldn't. Somebody has to start, though, right? We talking. I mean, I feel like we talk about this every day. Yeah, and I hate that we do, but until it's fixed, I just think we need to shine a light on it. Texas is going to pay
$40
million this year
for their roster.
Yeah, so
they're trying to buy themselves a championship, much like Ohio State did last year.
Yeah, no doubt.
Coach Cristobal was also asked, it's a rule-changing year. He wasn't very specific, but I thought what he had to say was interesting. This is why I wanted to play it, on what was discussed, at least in day one, among ACC head football coaches about the new rules.
I think a couple guys made some great points that the differentiation in some of the NFL and college rules causes confusion. I mean, for players, for fans,
even us as analysts, it does. Yeah,
no doubt. Yeah. So I think again, that marriage has got to become more real. And you wouldn't. Why would you not train them for the next level? Right. So There's some things, and part of the biggest thing is what's reviewable and what's not. So we tallied up a bunch of stuff and circling back tomorrow and seeing where some of these things land.
Marrying up college football with NFL rules. You like it?
No.
I don't either.
No, we want college football.
That's exactly. I want college football.
If I want to watch NFL football, I can watch it on Sunday.
I can appreciate what Coach is saying because it is about getting. But I mean, think about you've said it over and over and over. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm thinking about the amount of players that will ultimately be playing in the NFL compared to. Yeah, it's minute. What, 2-3%?
And of those average play 2 years. So it's not for long, as one of our guests says.
Quite a bit. Yeah. Quite a bit. NFL stands for not for long. By the way, did he blow you up as much as he blew me up this weekend?
Y'all were both blowing me up.
Jerry Glanville, for those that don't know our secret decoder ring that we're talking about right now. But we will get Coach on sooner rather than later. Also, the ACC network leaked out a portion of a conversation between Bill Belichick and Dabo Swinney, anchored by Reese Davis. The first voice you're going to hear is Bill Belichick. I don't know whether or not his assistant was in the room with him. We can find that out from Reese probably at another time.
Yeah, so let me ask you this real quick before we play this.
Yeah.
Okay, so if Bill Belichick is, what do we call him?
Grand Poobah?
No, he was from Star Wars. He was with his hoodie, and the way he talked, he sounded like the Emperor.
Yeah,
right?
Yes, the Imperial Emperor.
Yeah. So what does that make Reese Davis? That's what I'm getting at.
Ooh.
And then is Dabo Obi-Wan? I mean, we need T-Bob. T-Bob's in Chicago.
Yeah, T-Bob's got plenty of time to kill now.
Yeah.
No, wait a second. He's doing his Jim Rome stuff probably from 5 to 6.
Yeah.
I'll call T-Bob. He didn't have to wake up early this morning. His last day was Friday. There for the morning show in Baton Rouge. All right, first voice you're going to hear is Bill Belichick talking with Dabo Swinney and Reese Davis.
Can I jump in here on a couple questions?
Yeah, man.
We each kind of all have our little sayings, and I know you have the BYOG. What is that?
Yeah, so that came, we were playing Notre Dame in 15. There was a hurricane. We hadn't played Notre Dame since the 70s. And so it had been on the schedule for a long time. And it was just a lot had built up into that moment. We had 16 days off because we played 2 games. We played on, and so there's just this big buildup. Here comes a hurricane. And it was one of those things. It was kind of like the last thing I said to the team before the game.
Yeah.
And it went viral because that's what was in my head. And I just told the team, I'm like, you know what? Listen, hey, there's a lot we don't control. Like, we don't control the weather. We don't control this, and hey, I can give you a scholarship. I can give you a place to live. We can give you food. We can give you a scheme. We can give you, but I can't give you freaking guts. Like you gotta. This is a BYOG. You got to bring your own guts. You got to bring that. We played the game. It was a crazy deal. Came down to the last play, a 2-point conversion, and we stop them and win the game. And then all of a sudden, it's pouring, and they stick a microphone in front of your face, and they go, "What?" And I went, "Hey, BYOG, bring your own guts." And next thing I know, I'm a meme for life. So I got Bill Belichick asking me about BYOG.
Hey, he asked you, what would you like to ask Bill Belichick?
What would be one thing you would say to a coach or a group of coaches of being able to maintain the competitive stamina, the thrill to go win again?
I think a lot of what you said right at the beginning of the interview, Dabo, about having the right people and having the right culture, because you need people that want to keep achieving that goal. Even though we hit that one, it's like Brady Bruce used to say, which ring do you like the best? The next one. And you just don't stop. It just keeps going. You just keep going. And I think it's getting people that believe in the culture.
That is Bill Belichick, Dabo Swinney, and Reese Davis. Portion of that interview of Coach Belichick.
I never those three on that. I mean,
I know. It feels like a setup for a punchline, doesn't it?
Right.
But nonetheless, they're all Dabo and Belichick now part of the same conference, which just I need a minute to think about that. 256-576-4977 is the telephone number if you would like to participate. Mario also had this to say on recruiting in today's college football, because Miami has recruited at a pretty elite level, and at least according to Joel Klatt, has the 10th best quarterback heading into this season as well. The Georgia transfer and Mr. Lamborghini there in Carson Beck. Tell me about recruiting, Coach.
Everyone puts their best foot forward when they're trying to get a job,
Sure.
right?
Of course.
And I think you see that a lot, but you go deep into it. And I think the best recruiting you could do is honest right at your recruiting, right? I mean, because, that connection has got to be deeper than, hey, how's it going? Hey, come play for us. You're awesome. I mean, who wants to play for that? I mean, that's like so superficial. It's got no substance, no value, right? So, yeah, I think we dig deep into that. We want guys that we bring them to practice. That's the best thing we do. Because when you come to practice, you're either going to want to play for Miami,
Right. Yeah,
or you're going to say, where's the Metro Rail?
Sure.
I want out,
Yeah.
because we work really, really hard. We really get after it with intensity and passion, and nothing demeaning, but we get after it. And we are physical, and we believe in that physical model. That's been around for a long time. That model has stood the test of time. Coach Jimmy Johnson, Coach Saban, we took it out at Oregon. Now we brought it to Miami. I mean, that's a really good model, And so you're either going to want to be part of it or not. And our players really, they kind of they meet the guys and they tell them what's on their mind and on their hearts. There's no
sugarcoating.
there's no script, there's no script there. And we don't want a script,
Right.
Because if the foundation of this whole thing is not based on truth and honesty, it's not going to work. It's not. And if a guy really is not about that, it's going to be a horrible experience. So we want to make sure that it's a partnership. It's not about a verbal commitment. It's not about, just high fives and flipping on a hat. We want to make sure that this thing we're in, an ironclad and lockstep. We want to go forward through the ups and the downs that come with this. Those are the best stories and the best relationships at the end.
That is Mario Cristobal on the recruiting world here in 2025 moving forward. I mean, that all sounds great, but
You got to start winning down there.
He's got a couple of double-digit win seasons.
Yeah,
but this is year 4.
You're spending that kind of money, though. You got to win. You got to make the playoffs. They had a good quarter. Well, the NFL thought it was the best quarterback in the country last year, and they faded at the end. To me, you got to work hard, but you got to work smart, especially nowadays with the depth, the issues you have, and it's a different type deal, So you got to just kind of adjust, and I think you see other people adjusting. And you got to work hard, but you got to work smart, and you got to have. It looked like I say all that because it looked like Miami was tired at the end of the year.
Yeah.
It looked like they were really tired. Yeah,
big time. On 3 put out their predictions of what they will potentially, at least what they're predicting, what the college football playoff bracket will look like. We'll have that for you later on. But it's time to dive into the SEC baseball tournament. You're going to hear quite a bit of our next voice coming out of our first time out as we're live here from Jefferson. Kyle Schasberger from the SEC Radio Network, as he is down in Hoover getting ready for the SEC baseball tournament that'll fire up tomorrow morning, 9:15, between Alabama and Missouri to kick things off. We're live here from Jefferson's. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Ford Motor Company. From America, for America. Hi, folks. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford with a real quick quiz. Out of all the manufacturers, do you know which auto company employs the most hourly workers in America? Ford. Do you know which company assembles the most vehicles in this country? Ford. That's not just a coincidence, it's a commitment. A 120-year-old commitment to build in America for America. And during this unprecedented moment in automotive history, you stand to benefit big time. Woody Anderson Ford is now offering employee pricing. You pay what we pay. We've got over 190 F-150s for you to choose from with generous finance rates and the best deals of the year on America's best-selling truck for 48 years in a row. Employee pricing can save you thousands off MSRP, and with over 600 Fords for you to choose from, there's a good chance you'll find just exactly what you're looking for. This offer ends May 31st, so hurry in. Woody Anderson Ford.
You've seen those beautiful epoxy floors in a garage or carport area and have probably wondered, how can I get that done? Well, the answer is Lifetime Epoxy Floors. Lifetime Epoxy Floors is an A-plus rated business with the Better Business Bureau and has been family-owned for over 14 years. They do both residential and commercial applications and get most jobs done in a day. Lifetime Epoxy Floors' motto is, we love what we do, and it shows. Visit lifetimeepoxyfloors.com to schedule a free estimate today and check them out on Facebook.
The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation, but did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and trees. On the dirt work side, Eagle can grade and build your pads, haul dirt in or out, and even do erosion control. Philip Love and his team can do it all for you. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Flying nonstop from Huntsville is a breeze on Breeze Airways. They're nice people flying nice people to nice places on really nice planes. Let's be direct. Nonstop from Huntsville to the places you want to go. Las Vegas, Orlando, or Tampa, starting at $49. It's time for a weekend getaway or a long overdue week away. Time to check in using the convenient Breeze app and check out. What are you waiting for? Book today at flybreeze.com. That's flybreeze.com. Breeze Airways. Seriously nice.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. Where's the best place for sports? What about the best place for wings? If you answered Jefferson's for both, you're right. Jefferson's is also a great place for value. Every Monday, kids eat free with the purchase of an adult meal, and teachers bring your teacher ID, and you eat free every first Tuesday of the month up to $15. And Owens Crossroads, Jefferson's will be opening a new location at 326 Sutton Road very soon. Jefferson's, best place for sports, best place for wings. Hampton Cove, and soon in Owens Crossroads.
This segment of The Drive is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, located online at woodyAndersonFord.com with 2 locations, Hughes Road in Madison and Jordan Lane in Huntsville.
Complicated.
Back here at Jefferson's, here in Hampton Cove. We're here till 7 o'clock. By the way, watch the Blues Brothers over the weekend. I mean, for me, the way the movie starts with this song coming out of jail, come on.
The Joliet Jake walkout, yeah.
I'm telling you, hard to get better. Yeah, between both Jake and Elwood, they're reuniting. And then all of a sudden you find out they sold the caddy for a microphone. Yeah, I can see that. Anyway.
I may or may not identify with that.
Yeah, just fix the cigarette lighter. Anyway, back when cars had cigarette lighters. Moving on, shall we? Tomorrow morning, front and center is the SEC baseball tournament. This feels a little bit like a segment on dugouts, dumbbells, and dingers. You can hear with our next guest. As well as you'll be able to hear our next guest quite a bit over the next handful of days, as Kyle Schassberger is kind enough to join us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. How are you, Kyle?
Steve, I'm wonderful. Pleasure to be with you. I appreciate the Blues Brothers prelude for my presence since I'm a Chicago native. However, I don't think I could fully appreciate the scope of that film since I was so young. I mean, the nostalgia memories are more so watching with my father. So it's one of those as you grow up. I'm due for a rewatch now at 36 years old to be able to truly appreciate it. And speaking of those cigarette lighters in the car, have you ever put your finger to one of those, either intentionally or unintentionally?
Only one.
When I was little, my first car was a 76 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme, and I actually put it on the coil. Yeah, that coil.
That's
and
not smart.
I hadn't, but I had
He's
no
talking
idea.
about putting it after the.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll shock you.
Yeah.
All right, Kyle. Cubs or White Sox?
Cubs fan.
There you go.
No doubt.
That's the right answer.
Like coming off a sweep right there over your South Side brethren.
We have all the bragging rights from this past weekend, as we should. The Sox are terrible. They have been that way. I grew up on the South Side, but, necessarily being from the South Side doesn't mean you're a White Sox fan automatically. Maybe I went to more games as a kid, but certainly my grandfather's side, he shied more towards the Cubbies. So it's in my blood.
Tell me a little bit more about this foam baseball. For those that don't know, inside dugouts, dumbbells, and dingers, tell me more about the this foam baseball that I've been hearing you preach about, Kyle.
Oh, I appreciate you bringing that up, Steve. I know the Bergonio brothers and Mr. Bergonio certainly would as well. This thing originated on the West Coast. They dropped their first orders in January, maybe February. There were 500 orders of these, which came out to 2,000 balls that they sold out of very quickly, backyardbaseballbros.com. But what it is, it revolutionizes the indoor and outdoor baseball game. It's the safest foam baseball on the market. It's got raised seams that most mimic a real baseball. And if you go and check them out on social media, on Instagram, Backyard Baseball Bros, you'll see some of the videos, some of the content that they put out, how viral it's gone in its own space. I mean, you're talking about 3.7 million views on some of these videos of kids just throwing the ball around in the house. A mother may frown on that in the past, but this makes playing baseball inside certainly more accepted and allowable. Just make sure you take down the picture frames. But no, this ball is sweet. I brought a couple to Hoover. We might bust one out here around the field in pregame tomorrow night. Gabe Genovese and myself will have the evening session. Tim Bickford and David Kahn will have the day session over the next couple of days. But we got a format switch to deal with. 2 less games, which means we might have a little more time in our hands to use that Borgo ball throughout the week.
There you go. That's what I like to hear. Well, it all begins tomorrow morning with Alabama taking on Missouri. Alabama's won 10 straight games against Mizzou. And then every single time I think there is a definite routine. Then we saw Missouri do what they did against Texas A&M. Tell me what you think about right out of the gate, Mizzou and Alabama tomorrow morning.
Yeah, first game of the day, 9-16 matchup. I'll tell you what, Missouri, it's a one-game season. You could say the same thing for South Carolina. Certainly could say the same thing for a team like Texas A&M, as those are 3 of the 16 SEC teams currently on the outside needing to win this whole thing to get an automatic bid into the NCAA tournament. For Texas A&M, they at least need to get to the weekend. But for Alabama, they can't afford to lose this game. And it's against a Missouri team playing with house money, with nothing to lose. And they saved their best pitchers from this past weekend. They're loading up. Starters already announced for tomorrow. They're going with Sam Horn, who's the backup quarterback on the Mizzou football team. So they have their best bullets on the mound. And really, you can't blame Kerry Jackson and the way they played things this past weekend against Mississippi State. Mizzou got what they needed 2 weeks ago, and that was get the monkey off their back and avoid the 1962 ghost of Vanderbilt, who went winless in the SEC, which is the last time that had happened, entered College Station at 0-24. Not only did they win a game, but they swept the Aggies. And we may get to more on the Aggies, a team that has been completely an utter disappointment. Preseason number 1, likely going to be the first team in 35 years to not make the NCAA tournament. They had gotten hot at one point midway through the league season, but they've come back down to earth, and so did Missouri this past weekend. But, Steve, it might be by design. If I'm Alabama, if I'm Cade Snell, who received first-team SEC All-Honors earlier today, first outfielder for the Crimson Tide since 2012 to earn that honor. First-team All-SEC selection, one of the most fierce hitters in the league. He better bring it tomorrow against a Missouri team that's hungry to write their own story this week in Hoover. It's a new season.
Well, you mentioned South Carolina as well, as we're talking to Kyle Schafsberger right now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. And I thought I kind of hacked that and pegged as well. And then they turn around and beat LSU right out of the gate. I realize LSU bounced back, but after how Alabama just kind of had their way with them. I'm just trying to be as polite as I can. It's South Carolina, Florida, and after what I just saw what Florida did to Alabama, tell me what you think about that matchup, because I'm certainly leaning Gators myself.
Yeah, and I am too. I mean, South Carolina in the Pulmonary experiment has failed this year. I mean, Pulmonary even forgot what team he was coaching for a moment in the post-game interview last week, thinking, I think, for a moment he was still wearing the gold and the purple thread. But South Carolina didn't take game one. Sure, it was an emotional game, Pulmonary going against his former team in Columbia, but LSU flex their muscles as who they are. And South Carolina has been spiraling all season. They've dealt with some injuries, but it's been very disappointing. I think there's some parallels here, some connective tissue between what Florida is trying to do and what Alabama is trying to do. They're seated right next to each other, 9-10. Florida just took 2 out of 3 in Gainesville over Alabama, as you just indicated. But there's other things on the line beyond what is an SEC tournament championship, and that's hosting in the NCAA tournament the week after for the prize that matters most for these teams. And a Florida team that started 1-11 in SEC play, they've won 14 out of their last 18 in the league. Nobody may be hotter than the Florida Gators, and they now have within their radar, in focus, a chance to be one of 16 regional hosts. Now, they can't afford to lose to South Carolina, that's for sure. But assuming that they take care of business against South Carolina on Tuesday, and then maybe pick up a win against Ole Miss on Wednesday, I think the Gators will become one of those 16 hosts. Now, will it bump out Alabama? If Alabama loses against Missouri, they're not going to host. Right now, Alabama is projected to host, but they may need to get past Tennessee as well to just shore that up. But I think beating Missouri is good enough for Alabama.
Texas A&M, the 14 seed, and I never would have gone there. I at least I never. I'm sorry, Kyle. I'm just a little flabbergasted that I'm sitting here talking about Texas A&M, the 14 seed in the SEC tournament tomorrow night against Mississippi State. Tell me what you think about that matchup.
So much can change in a year, and really so much can change overnight if you go back to the College World Series final when Jim Schlossnagle really left overnight. Following that defeat to Tennessee when Tennessee won Game 3 after dropping Game 1 of the Aggies. I mean, Texas A&M and Jim Schlossnagle were one win away from winning the College World Series, and that was without Braden Montgomery, who had gone down in, I think, the super regional round last season. And then you fast forward to this year, a players-led movement led to retaining Michael Early, who initially was leaving with Schloss, to go to Texas. By the way, Schlossnagle announced today as the SEC Coach of the Year. No surprise, with Texas likely locking up what would be the number 1 overall seed already with the 8 SEC Series wins. Nobody has won more, the regular season champion. Early then goes to Texas, but then gets pulled back to College Station because the players wanted him, and they wanted to have that alignment. And maybe there were some concessions that were made that certainly have been questioned ever since, whether Michael Early was the right guy or not. But for them to be the 14th seed, you can't just point at Early. I mean, you got to look around. You got to look up and down that roster and say to yourself, okay, have these guys played up to their potential, and have they had a healthy roster? The answer to both of those questions is no. I mean, Jace Lavalette has 17 home runs. He's projected, which, yeah, it's a lot. He's leading the team in home runs, walks, RBIs, runs scored. I mean, he's the all-everything player, but he doesn't have his running mate to help provide protection in that lineup. And I'm talking about Gavin Grahovac, who was hurt at the end of February. And he was an all-freshman star. If I recall correctly, I think he was freshman of the year a year ago in the SEC. I mean, that dude was an absolute stud. He goes down at the end of February. You lose that meet. Caden Sorrell doesn't return from injury until the end of March. Ryan Prager, who spurned the Angels, he was drafted and was due to accept more than $1 million signing with the Angels. He decided to come back to school, even with Schloss leaving. Once the news that Michael Early was coming back and was going to be the head coach, the former hitting coach of the Aggies, said he would come to College Station. Prager pulled his name out, burned the Angels, said no to the money. I'm sure he's getting a sweet NIL deal to at least help compensate him. But he hasn't necessarily performed up to task. He's the SEC Scholar Athlete of the Year, 13 career wins. But a team that it's been a crazy roller coaster for Texas A&M. They just haven't been able to find enough consistency throughout the year. They've been battered, bruised, and really taken advantage of. The one bright spot for them, too, much like Missouri, Steve, is anything can happen. If you can find lightning in a bottle this week in a single elimination format, I can't stress that enough. single elimination format. Maybe some teams get knocked off in front of you and the matchups start to favor, as long as you can, work a bullpen game on Tuesday, get to Wednesday, and then maybe you bring Prager back on short rest with Justin Lampkin on Thursday or Friday. We just have 2 games Thursday, 2 games Friday. So you got a couple of less games to deal with. Anything can happen here if you can find the Hoover Magic.
And Mississippi State, of course, with the managerial change as well. The timing surprised me a little bit, Kyle. Did it surprise you?
It certainly did. I think I last spoke with you the week that had happened. That was when Auburn was traveling to Tennessee, and Alabama, I believe, was at Vanderbilt. And that news was pretty fresh at that time. And you might have to check the tape of our conversation, but I may not have said as plainly that this was a mistake, like Mississippi State is going to be a threat in the postseason, but I said as much. And the reason being is the way the schedule was laid out for a Mississippi State team that really wasn't that bad at the time. Like, maybe, look, expectations are insanely high in Starkville, as they are everywhere in the SEC. But when you look at the dude, that tells you everything you need to know with the crowds that they get, the support they have, that stadium, the tradition. But let's not forget that they didn't win a national championship, not just in baseball, but not in any sport, until Chris Lemonis did it just 4 years ago. So for a guy where a statue should be built in Stark Vegas to be given the hook before the season's even over, it doesn't sit well for me. Now, fortunately for Mississippi State and for the players, they've stayed laser focused under Justin Parker, I think they could have played this well even if Lemonis was here, but the numbers bear it out. Since Lemonis was fired, Mississippi State has gone 9-1. 9-1. Now they're projected as a 3 seed in the NCAA tournament, which I think is blasphemous, but this is a team that might pick up a couple additional wins this week and will likely play itself onto the 2 line if they do that.
Well, Mississippi State with a hot streak, but it's hard to believe I'm putting this sentence together about a 1 seed. But when Texas out of the gate goes, I think 19-2, is there any cause for concern down the stretch and what you've seen out of the Longhorns on the diamond, Kyle?
I think this is the Texas team. This is exactly where they want to be. And that might sound obvious when you're the number 1 seed, you win the SEC in the first season, maybe the best debut of any team in a league in the history of this sport when you really think about the totality of what the Longhorns have done. But you're right, Steve, like they scuffled a little bit for a couple of weeks. They got swept by Arkansas, which had never happened ever in Fayetteville, 3 weeks ago. They lose 2 out of 3 to Florida. They come back, though, this past weekend, and they take 2 out of 3 from rival Oklahoma. The thing about them is they built such an insurmountable lead with that 19-2 start, as you referenced, that they could coast. They could take it to the clubhouse in a lot of ways. Now, they've been dealt with some adversity with injuries also. Jared Spencer, their star ace, is done for the year. Max Ballou had missed some significant time. The thought was, hey, he might not ever return. Well, it turns out he returned this past weekend. He delivered a critical 3-run homer in a clinching series victory over Oklahoma. So now you got this guy back in the lineup. You got Ryan Galvan as well. You have the SEC freshman of the year in Dylan Volantis for Texas, who has 12 saves, one of the nation's premier closers. Texas is built to win it all, and it shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody, even being the new kid on the block in the SEC. This is why Jim Schlossnagle was rescued, if you will, by his buddy Chris Del Conte at Texas following A&M's exit from the College World Series Finals. Again, on the doorstep of an Natty, he went out and got his guy. Schloss, no stranger to this league or this format. And I think Texas, rightfully so, is going to be the number 1 overall seed. I'm not sure they're going to have the durability long-term to make a run deep into Omaha. I think they could certainly get there if things roll the right way. But trust me, don't question what this team can do, even in spite of some of the injuries.
The Auburn Tigers, last year in particular, felt like a bit of an anomaly, considering the pedigree that Butch brings to the table. And we were fortunate to have Gabe Gross on a couple of weeks ago. And I believe that was right before the South Carolina series. And that was a case right there. That wasn't a can. They opened up there against South Carolina. But what kind of chance do you give Auburn down in Hoover?
I give Auburn as good a chance as any, really, of these top 10 seeds, maybe 11, going up to Mississippi State. I think you can draw the line at Oklahoma and Kentucky and maybe right at 10 with Florida. But any of these 10 teams, should things roll the right way, this might be as open of a field as we've ever had in Hoover, especially considering the addition of Texas and Oklahoma. And the same could be said for the NCAA tournament with what we'll have on Selection Monday, Memorial Day, with the reveal of a 64-team bracket. I think any of maybe 16 to 20 teams nationally, we could put in the conversation as somebody that can emerge as a legitimate national champion this year. And I think Auburn is one of those teams. They're a team that with a win should solidify winning at least one game. Because remember, yeah, sure, these guys are competitors. Coaches, the players, you want to come to Hoover, you want to win. Fortunately, I think this format is going to benefit a lot of these teams and a lot of these higher seeds where maybe they aren't as willing to mail it in should things not go their way from a pitching standpoint, because it is only single elimination and we're protecting our top four where they only have to win 3 games. Auburn does have to play a night earlier, playing in the final game on Wednesday night against the winner of Mississippi State and Texas A&M. So they can almost line up their pitching exactly how they want. They just got to win one more game, which they're treating as a midweek. And given what they did last year, to your point, 27-26, 8-22 in the league, that was an anomaly. I called Arkansas visiting Auburn. I saw how bad that Butch Thompson-led team was. They weren't there. They were lacking something, some sort of structure, pizzazz, pow. I don't know what it was. Like Irish was dealing with some injuries last year. I think it was the pitching more than anything, but that pitching has showed up in a big way. And there is a legitimate identity to this team. If you want to come back team of the year, come back coach of the year, this would be it. This is where I would focus with Auburn, a team that swept LSU earlier this year for the first time at home since 1988, the year I was born. I mean, I think this Auburn team has the ingredients to make a deep run.
All right, Kyle, I need to pin you down a little bit more than 11. And listen, I'm not disagreeing that there is a lot of parity in SEC baseball. Can you whittle it down to maybe, I'll give you 5. How about 5 true contenders to hoist it up Sunday afternoon, weather pending? That we're gonna get it in. All right, positive vibes here. Positive vibes.
Yeah,
but give me 5. Give me 5.
I just checked the weather before you had me on, and because I've just been afraid to look. I don't want, the realization. We've been blessed the last couple of years, but I'm seeing 55% on Tuesday, 55% on Wednesday. It's going to be balmy. It's going to be in the 80s, maybe get down to the mid-70s Friday, Saturday. Sunday should be spectacular. But, yeah, we'll get it in somehow. Good thing is we got, a couple of game slots to play with 2 less games. So if I'm looking at the top portion first, I'm going to rule out each of the first 4 teams playing: Bama, Missouri, Oklahoma, Kentucky. Tennessee, they have lost 6 out of their last 7 weekends. 6 out of their last 7. Andrew Fisher, he's a dog, leading the league in home runs with 22. Liam Doyle, he might win the Golden Spike. Best pitcher in the country, leading the nation in strikeouts. I'm worried about the rest. I'm worried about the rest of it. Thielen at second base, he's a first-team All-SEC selection, but this isn't the same Tennessee team we've seen from the last few years. They don't defend as well, and they can't hold base runners on. So Georgia, 5 seed. They've gone one and done 3 years in a row. I think, and we talked a lot about Georgia last time you and I spoke, I think this Wes Johnson team is playing for something legitimately here. I think they have a chance to get past Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt normally plays very well here in Hoover, and the Commodores as the 4 seed, they don't play till Thursday. But I think Georgia is going to be a surprise pick, and they can be a team in a rematch with Texas. If I'm not mistaken, this is off memory, I believe Texas swept Georgia this year in Austin. I'm going to take the Bulldogs as a surprise team out of the top portion of the bracket to play for a championship on Sunday. So I'm giving you one there. Okay, I'm giving you bonus. I'm doing more than what you've asked, but I'm thinking Georgia would be a pick of mine. And then the bottom portion, it's a little more convoluted. I really think Arkansas at their best, they can't be beaten. I mean, Arkansas's best is the best in the country. At this stage, I think, led by SEC Player of the Year, Vahiva Oloy, I think they're the best team in the country, and they're my Omaha pick right now. They weren't preseason. I picked them to get there, but I think Arkansas and DVH are going to take to this new format very kindly, set up their pitching staff on the weekend as they normally would. My pick would be a Georgia-Arkansas final, but if not Arkansas, I like LSU or Auburn to also flirt with making it Sunday.
The only pushback I'd give you on Georgia is how Hoover plays. And it feels like, at least the games that I watched, the long ball was very important for Georgia. And usually the long ball is not as active down there at the Hoover mat.
That's a fair point, Steve. That's a fair point. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but that is something that we have tracked over the last. This is year 4 for me coming, and these numbers are made available to us at some point. I believe those home run totals have increased each year. So, and really, we've seen that across all of baseball. However, on the whole, this year in 25, since we're on the topic, home runs are down though this season compared to the last couple of years. So, you're right. That might be working against Georgia, but they got all those arms. They got enough guys that I think can show up in certain spots. And really, I love their lineup up and down 1 through 9. I mean, Zabrowski returned this past weekend from injury. Zabo, as they call him, I mean, he's lethal in the middle of that lineup. Played Alford leading off. I mean, they have more home runs than anybody else in the country. All right. I mean, they are leading the nation in home runs. They've led off a game 5 times with the Bob. I mean, they've had some special walk-off moments and game-changing home runs late in the game, too. They just seem to find a way. It's been a little topsy-turvy at times here throughout the league season, but they've showed flashes. That's just my sleeper pick. Should everything fall the right way, I like Georgia out of the top. Otherwise, give me Tim Corbin because they're tough as nails, and it's Tim Corbin. And Vandy won this thing 2 years ago. They've won it several times. They always seem to be in there at the end.
The biggest change, obviously, is the format. I know this is something we're all going to experience for the first time, but the idea of single elimination, what do you think about it?
Yeah, I think it's selfishly, I hate that we're losing a couple of games. The other thing is fans, attendance. What are you hearing? I already have a family connection in Baton Rouge. I lived there for a couple of years. My daughter was born in Baton Rouge. I know that the normal ones that make this trip that are closest to me, this annual pilgrimage, this is the holy grail for college baseball. Some might put it above the College World Series in many respects, but it's certainly right there behind a trip to Omaha, right? If it's not the national championship, it's playing for an SEC crown in Hoover. There's no mistake about it. But when you don't know if you're going to play more than one game, and especially if you're a top 4 seed, like LSU being a 3, and you're not playing until what would be Friday, that kind of, the trip loses a little bit of its luster from a fan's perspective. So I'm really, to pay all that money versus, staying home and ponying up or going to a nearby regional, like it's changing the calculus a little bit. And I'm just curious what that's going to look like this week as I look out. Now, from an NCAA tournament standpoint, it's the right move with the addition of 2 more teams. Invite everybody. I think this is the right decision for the play on the field. There's no question in my mind. Greg Sankey and his team have made the right call. Bring everybody. Let's celebrate the addition of Oklahoma and Texas. Let's make this a party. We've been more exclusive in years past, but let's be inclusive. Let's bring them all down. Let's blow it up. Let's have a new format, and let's help our top seeds and protect those that might be on the bubble from not working their way off the bubble in the wrong direction. Also, think of maybe some of the teams that might go 0-2 this week normally, that then would be left on the outside looking into the NCAA tournament. Here, there's some protection. They can only lose 1 game. So how much might an RPI take a hit when it's already the number 1 RPI league in the country by a long shot? So I think it really is going to help the health, stability, the strength, how potent the NCAA field is come next week. And as I look around at the Met, more enhancements, more renovation, more seating. I mean, they're prepared to have a bash. This is going to be an extravaganza unlike anything else with the addition of Texas and Oklahoma this week. You've got new enclosed premium seating beyond third base, beyond the third level, private bathrooms, VIP. This is an enclosed, built-on extension past the pavilion. You've got the addition of picnic tables and seating areas and another pavilion beyond the right field wall right next to the bullpen. So you can look right down into the bullpen with a new built-in railing and walking pad from the berm in the right field corner down closer to the big old scoreboard. I mean, there are more overflow seating areas here to help get these fans more engaged than ever. And I hope it pays off. I hope the fans show up and they aren't too deterred by just the single game or the single elimination format.
Well, if anything is a certainty through the 15 years straight that we've carried the tournament, there's always at least one late night. And since you've got the late night capper, I'm going to go full circle. I need at least one Blues Brothers reference for an extra inning affair of 106 miles to Chicago, full tank of gas, half pack of cigarettes. It's dark and we're wearing sunglasses. That's my request for you, Kyle.
Okay. I will be sure to squeeze that in. Hopefully you're listening. If you don't catch it live, make sure you circle back with me, and I'll mark the tape and I'll get it back to you, and you can play it for all to hear. So I can definitely hold up to that end of the bargain. I got you.
Well, it'll definitely be over the airwaves here of 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Kyle, I can't thank you enough for the time, and get ready for the marathon. Although it's maybe instead of 26.2, it's down to what, 19.8. With a couple of games fewer.
It's still a lot of energy that is going to be generated this week. There'll be a lot of stimulant, a lot of caffeine. We'll be making the rounds, arming ourselves tonight after dinner here locally, and that's a steak dinner we'll enjoy. And we'll go out and arm ourselves with what we need to keep all of you engaged throughout the week here in Hoover. It's my favorite week of the year. There's Christmas. There's really that whole month, the week build up, spring break trip, summer break. Look, all that's great, but then there's a week in Hoover, and nothing compares to that for me. So this is my Super Bowl. It's a pleasure for me, Gabe Genovese, Tim Bickford, and David Kahn to bring it to you all week. We appreciate you and everyone listening, Steve.
Thank you, Kyle. Appreciate the time, sir.
All right, take care.
That is Kyle Schassberger. You can follow him on X at Kyle Schass, or give him a listen as well on Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers. They're very entertaining dude, and always enjoy his time. You'll be able to hear quite a bit of Kyle Schassberger over the next handful of days, because this is it. We do need to take our final timeout. There's a Tom Abraham break right here at 52 past the hour. You're welcome, Tom. We'll be back here live from Jefferson's.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman, or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Would you call a plumber for a root canal? The same goes for selling your timberland or farm. Choose someone who understands your property and can help you on the front end so you can capitalize on the back end. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction. As a guide, I have put many hunters in position to take a shot. It's time for you to take your shot. Let's talk about putting you in position to sell your property. Call me at 256-609-0512. Remember, Bo knows land.
I'm here with Stan McDonald of Jacob Title. Stan, I've heard that every real estate closing at Jacob Title is a very big deal. Why is that?
Wes, I'm reminded of a very impactful statement that I heard from Coach Gene Stallings years ago when he talked about big games and little games. He said he didn't like that comparison. He says, because try losing one of those little games, and if you ever do, it ends up being the biggest game all year long. Well, it's the same thing with real estate closings. Every game, every closing is a very big deal at Jacob Title, because when it's your closing and your contract on the line, it's a very big deal, and we understand that at Jacob Title.
So it sounds like whether your client is a first-time residential buyer or a multi-million-dollar investor, they can expect your A game.
That's exactly right. As a matter of fact, when you bring your real estate closing to us at Jacob Title, we understand it's all about trust and confidence. And when Stan McDonald tells you that a chicken dips snuff, you can look under his wing for the box.
And like Beebs likes to say, there's no doubt about it.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list and maybe a little scary, but it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188. And you can email me at Dan, that is Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
From the Fox 54 Weather Impact Team, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. A mostly cloudy sky expected for this Monday night. Low temperatures falling into the lower 70s. Heading into our Tuesday, though, a Fox 54 Weather Impact Alert Day has been declared for strong to severe thunderstorms to develop Tuesday afternoon into Tuesday night. High temperatures warming into the upper 80s for the afternoon. I'm Fox 54 meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Everything you need is just a click away.
Come up sometimes, see me.
Okay, almost everything.
Come up, I'll tell you fortune.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. 977 ESPN, The Zone.
Back here at Jefferson's, along with Wes Neighbors, Steve Moulton back here with you. Earlier, I had the steakhouse burger out here at Jefferson's, but Jefferson's really known for their wings, their burgers, and their oysters here.
Known all across the Georgia Plain for their food.
I mean, it's kind of a rite of passage since Huntsville High is always in the regionals at Jacksonville. We've gone there several times, but I have not had the oysters. I've had the burgers. I've had wings.
I've got quesadillas, Philly cheesesteak.
Yeah, I think I had the Philly cheesesteak.
They're a bad meal with a bunch, man.
Hamburger steak platter.
I saw that. Yeah.
Come on now. That is Wesley Neighbors Jr. the third right there written all over it. Or William. Excuse me.
Yep.
So we'll there is a lot to
I didn't
enjoy.
know Notre Dame was in the ACC.
They are on everything
but football. Yes, ACC network is in one of the many televisions here in the bar area.
Are they talking? Is this women's basketball they're talking?
I'll guess yes.
Okay.
I don't know for a certain.
Because, I mean, I know y'all been playing Mario Cristobal, and I love Mario. He's a great recruiter.
What did you think of Mario?
Not much. I mean, give me a break with this. We got to treat them like college kids and just give them a break. They're making millions. Do your job or get out.
I think though, Drew, what
Take
he's
you some
saying.
life wallet.
I'm thinking what he's saying though is that they shouldn't be paying them all that money.
Oh, I agree with that too. I think every coach wants guardrails.
Yeah. Well, and anything you do, you have to have guardrails.
And I think in many cases, the general managers and the agents are handling the money, and the coaches don't even really want to know. Just tell me that the guy's in and he's on my roster.
But they got a budget.
Yeah,
we got a full hour with Drew Yarman.
They do have a say, but
coming up after this Sports Center timeout, as we're live here from Jefferson's here in Hampton Cove. We will be right back in 3 minutes.
Hi, folks. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, inviting you to come test drive any one of our over 100 F-150s. From rock-solid, dependable work trucks to our state-of-the-art Platinum Series, we've got an F-150 for you. Test drive one today, and you'll understand why the F-150 is the best-selling truck in America, going on 48 years in a row. Just as successful offenses and defenses are built on teamwork, Woody Anderson Ford is powered by our people. Our sales and service teams are well-trained to save you time and money. And because we want your business again and again, no one will work harder to earn it. Our mobile service teams come to your home or business for oil changes, brake work, tire rotations, and more. And the great thing is you don't pay extra for it. We come to you with mobile service at no extra charge. Proud to be local, family-owned, and at your service for over 62 years. Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Sports Center. I'm John Ryder. The 49ers continue to have a busy offseason after agreeing on lucrative contract extensions with Brock Purdy and George Kittle. Today, San Francisco agreed on a 3-year, $63 million deal with Fred Warner. $56 million guaranteed, reports ESPN's Adam Schefter. This makes Warner the NFL's highest paid linebacker. Reigning Super Bowl champion Eagles have agreed on a multi-year contract extension with head coach Nick Sirianni. NFL owners scheduled to meet tomorrow and Wednesday on a series of proposals, including a ban on the tush push and potentially reseeding teams after the first round of the playoffs based on regular season records. Celtics president of basketball operations Brad Stevens held his season-ending press conference today. There's a lot of questions for this team this offseason. Next year's tax bill could be almost $280 million if they keep the team intact. And they are also not expected to have star Jason Tatum for most of the season, if not all of it, with a ruptured Achilles. Stevens on the Tatum injury.
I think anytime you're talking about an injury like that, I think it's another piece of information that you have to ingest and figure out how that affects you moving forward, both next year and in the future.
Celtics payroll for next season is currently at around $225 million, and with a new owner. Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals tomorrow night with Oklahoma City hosting Minnesota, and on ESPN Radio and TV with coverage starting at 8 p.m. Eastern. The Thunder are currently an 8.5-point favorite on ESPN Bet. Braves have activated righty Spencer Strider, expected to start tomorrow night at Washington.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Tuesday, it's a changing in the guard in the NBA, and I'll tell you why it's a good thing for the league. It's Unsportsmanlike weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
.97.7 ESPN The Zone. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll. And I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
Back here at Jefferson's here in Hampton Cove. And I think coming up here shortly, there'll be another one in Newmarket as well.
Well, yeah, and for like every Jefferson's I've ever been in, and they have just TVs everywhere,
and the dollar bills.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the dollar bills.
The dollar bills are populated.
Yeah,
I see one painted in LSU colors. Yeah, but they're all over the place.
Probably
here.
not in Texas A&M colors right now.
Probably not. Probably.
Aggie.
So we got a full hour here. This is our final hour of the week as the SEC baseball tournament is going to take over. Although there is a chance of some weather playing a role tomorrow.
Yeah.
But we'll see how that plays out.
I was told to look out for weather. I'm a dog sitter right now, so I was told to look out for severe weather on Tuesday.
That's tomorrow. Yeah.
So
from what I understand,
here we go.
It's supposed to be more severe up here than it is down in Hoover.
Drew, I didn't know you dog sitted.
Yeah, I got a friend. He's been
what kind of dogs are we talking about?
Between 3 and 4. Now he's got 4.
You got 4 dogs you're babysitting?
Yeah. Got a less than 1-year-old cane Corso. He's already 70 pounds.
Yeah, you need that on video. Now. I'd like to see that.
I mean, I do have some video if you'd like to see it. But
that's got paper.
He's a
pay-per-view.
Coda, but I've nicknamed him Insane Asylum. And then of course he's got 2 dogs I'm very familiar with. Because I've babysat his dogs. I've dog sitted many times for him. But Tucker and Cooper, Coop's about 10, Tuck's about, I guess he's 5 or 6 now.
So this is a side hustle here. So
it's a side hustle.
If you'd like Drudy Armand to dog sit.
Is this can we charge you for this commercial we're doing?
I mean, hey, I don't know. I mean, and then Lily's the new one that I've met. She's a kind of a beagle mix. She's cool. So got 2 new ones.
I heard Levitt's voice on that one.
I a very experienced dog sitter. We are heading to
figured out for Ollie the Wonder Dog. I mean,
Yeah.
How are you with like 60-pound pit bulls?
How are you with chickens?
Chickens? Nah, I've never done the Rocky. I've never chased a chicken. So I can't say that.
Well, next week we're at the beach. Maybe Kirby. I don't know if I'm going to trust him with Kirby. Anyway,
I've seen Curb. It's been a while though.
It has been a while. Yeah.
Yeah. Really has.
On 3, your favorite production of sports news. On 3, this is Ari Wasserman has put out his 12-team bracket. 12-team bracket for the upcoming season. We don't even need to play it. Ari's already figured it out.
Well, let's get Ari's from last year and see how he did. That'd be more fun.
Ooh.
Can we do that?
It does not have a link to the old one from last year, but I'll look it up. The new one from this year, the 5-12 matchup is Ohio State against Boise State. Ohio State, the 5 seed, Boise State, the 12 seed.
So we've got Boise making it again, huh?
Yeah, this will be another fun year.
6-11 matchup, number 6 LSU hosting number 11 Alabama.
Right. So he's got Alabama all the way down at 11, already an F.
What do you think they'll be, Drew?
Top 4.
You really think they'll be top 4?
You got them. That means winning the SEC.
Yeah, I think they're a top 2 team in the SEC. Give me Bama, give me Texas.
Number 7 versus number 10 is Notre Dame versus Illinois.
Interesting. Bert.
8-9 matchup is the Dogs, the Georgia Bulldogs, playing host to Oregon.
That's interesting with Dan Lanning too, and all the connections to Kirby and Alabama, but between all of them.
Well, all the staff is half the. I guarantee half the coaches on both staffs played at Alabama, or coach could play.
Yeah.
It's just a dog.
Yeah, this is the video that
you got
Drew
one in every
just sent
quarter,
me.
Drew, don't you?
Yeah, it's on your phone.
Yeah,
Wes has got the big screen.
Quarterfinal matchup, according to Ari, has number 5 Ohio State at number 4 BYU.
Yeah.
Number 3 Clemson playing host to number 6 LSU.
Wait a minute, that's LSU twice.
Well, he's got LSU beating Alabama and moving on to play Clemson. Number 2 Penn State taking on number 7 Notre Dame
over at quarterback.
He's going to pick Penn State to win it, isn't he?
And number 1 Texas taking on number 9 Oregon. Your semifinals are number 1 Texas versus number 5 Ohio State. The other semifinals, number 3 Clemson versus number 2 Penn State. And your national championship game, number 1 Texas versus number 3 Clemson.
Oh, that one.
Yeah. I mean, I look.
A lot of love for Clemson.
Yeah, there is. I think Josh Pate's got them number 1 or number 2.
Number 1.
Number 1. And they've got a good team coming back. They've got a couple of good defensive linemen that should be in another state. But, but they're good. There's no doubt. And they have Klubnik. They got some experience. Now, they did lose their tailback, Maffa, but I just don't know, man. I don't know if I value the competition of it. And I'm talking about what Ohio State had to go through in the Big Ten and then in the playoff, and then, what Alabama and these SEC schools will have to go through, and what Georgia. I still say if Georgia didn't get their quarterback hurt, they play for the national championship. I don't think they'd have beat Ohio State, but I think they would have played for the national championship.
Texas should have beat Ohio State.
Yeah.
I mean, they put.
I mean,
you go back and look at all the holding Ohio State did in that game. It was unbelievable. They called it some, but it was every play. They could not block Texas. And then Texas gets the ball first and goal at the 1.
And then try to trick you.
Yeah, they try to, just run the ball 4 times up the middle and put your big quarterback in. And that's what happened in that game.
Whenever that happens now, that should be always nicknamed the Seahawk.
Yeah.
When you try to trick somebody instead of just giving it to your Hall of Fame running back. Just call it the Seahawk.
Yeah.
And give
it is what it is.
Give Rap a game.
Malcolm Butler.
I've watched more games be lost at the 1 yard line. And it's just, to me, they're not prepared to do what's the easiest thing in the world to do.
Mm-hmm.
And we watch Philadelphia do it every game. And that's what I've been preaching.
They're trying to outlaw it.
And I've been preaching that since when? Way before Philadelphia started.
Yeah.
Well,
there's no way to stop it. It's no way.
What we should have in one of these TVs, I think this is the first episode of the Alabama spring practice series that they're putting on SEC Network. So it's a behind the scenes look.
It's right behind you.
Right behind you.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
There we go.
There's Proctor right there. Boy, he has a head. Look at that.
Gonna need to have a good year out of him.
Him and Booker talk they with their head the same way. I like both of those guys, really.
I mean, he's the best chance right now for Alabama to continue the first round streak that they've had for so long, which would be 18 in a row, because he's a valuable, whether he's a right or a left tackle. I mean, they're both valuable, so he's got a chance to be a high draft pick. So we'll see, and certainly, Ty Simpson, if he has a big year, it's already been proven as a quarterback. You only need one good year to be a first round pick in the NFL. I mean, Mitchell Trubisky, for God's sake, was the number 2 pick.
I ask and ye shall receive. Of course, they're going to a break as soon as I try to cue it up there for the Alabama. It's all in Alabama spring football.
Right.
Is the name of the program that Drew is referencing. So Alabama in particular, this is year 2 for Kalen DeBoer, but at the same time, I've got high expectations as well for Alabama. I know you just kind of said that, but you've got them, probably playing Texas in the SEC championship?
Yeah, I think Alabama and Texas are the 2 best teams on paper. I think Georgia's close, very close to that. I think that matchup, and I think it's week 4 in Athens. It's going to be huge again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm anxious to see how Gunnar Stockton and what Bobo does with him. And if Georgia can run the football better than they did last year, certainly Alabama needs to do that. I like Alabama's running back room. I don't know about Georgia's.
It's not as deep.
Well,
so let me ask you about Georgia. Their defensive line, offensive line. How do they look on the offensive line?
There's a lot of question marks. O-line, defensive line is a solid 1 through, but again, it's the depth issue.
Do they have any first round picks? Because
I wouldn't say
not next year necessarily, but overall, because they had when they won the championships, they had 8 first round picks.
Yeah, that's 21.
First or second round picks playing defense.
On paper, I would say no. But again, with the transfer portal and with development, that can change quickly. But based on what Georgia lost last year and based on what Alabama returns on the offensive and defensive lines, if Alabama's coached well on the offensive and defensive lines, especially the defensive lines, then I think that Alabama will be better than Georgia up front. And it's why I've got Alabama winning in Athens. Because, I know Georgia's had a great record in Athens, and Kirby's done a lot like what Coach Saban did, and it's become a very difficult place to play. But, again, I don't think that Alabama's going to be intimidated. I think they're going to go in there ready to make a statement. And, a lot will depend on the offensive line and protecting Ty and giving him time. And then, Georgia lost some talent in their secondary. And I think Alabama, I don't care how much money Texas spent. Alabama's going to have the best secondary in the SEC. I'll go ahead and call that right now. I wouldn't trade any of Alabama's guys for what Georgia's got. And they got good players. Look, they've recruited at a very high level. But I like Alabama's linebacker core too, like the athleticism and the experience, and getting Jefferson back, and then Deontay coming back, and then of course Hill Green, whatever the hell his name is, from Colorado. He had to get out of there so he could learn how to tackle somebody, even though he had 82 for Colorado last year. But
Georgia is losing Jalen Walker, Chaz Chambliss.
Well, Jalen Walker was a beast.
But Chambliss.
Michael Williams. They don't have Michael Williams. And then 93, I'll use a West term. He was a good player. He made a lot of plays. And he got drafted. So he's gone. And so I just, but I know they've got some young guys that they think are going to be good. And then they've got continuity. Schumann's still there, so they're going to have the same scheme, and they're going to have some athletes at the linebacker. They also lost Smile London.
They sure did. Yeah,
I think he was there for 15 years. That's what it felt like. But Smile London went on to the NFL, so they've got a lot of holes to fill.
Lovett's gone. Arian Smith, thank goodness, is gone.
You mean AKA Stonehands from the? I guess that it's escaping me right now, but. The replacements. That's exactly who Arian Smith was. He could run like hell, but he needed back.
Carson Beck obviously transferred to Miami as well. But
they're still going to have some good tight ends. Now they're not going to have a freakazoid.
Dylan
like
Bell
Brock
is back, and that is going to be a key.
Bell. He reminds me of a poor man's Hines Ward, and because of his versatility and his skill set, and he really made some plays against Alabama.
But he is the number one. He is the number one.
He should be with what they've got coming back now. They got some guys out of the portal, so a lot of it will be how they mesh, and the chemistry that they have, and how Gunner looks, with a full off season, and because I'm assuming it's going to be him, and that he's going to be the QB.
I think we're all assuming that,
and how
like we're all assuming Ty Simpson at Alabama.
Yeah, is there going to be a lot of QB run because he's a good athlete, he's got a good arm, we don't know, and so.
All right. The foundation is the part that is being played right here from the SEC network. This is all in Alabama spring football.
Okay. If you're going to build a house, it better have a good foundation. And that foundation starts in January. Okay. And then you obviously you're building on that foundation slowly, methodically, along the way as you get into February, March, and then obviously in April when you finish spring football. But that the foundation is being poured all throughout those months. Then you get into the summer, then it's time to let it loose. And you got to go get ready for a season, a grueling training camp and a grueling season.
Okay. Hey, man, it's time to set the tone right now. It's time to set the tone right now. All that work we've been putting in, it's time to put it to play. Hey, man, I love everybody out here. Because if you woke up this morning, you're a winner. So let's go out here and compete. Remember that team ready? Remember that team ready? Hey, time.
Iron sharpens iron.
Yeah, I mean, iron sharpens iron is a real thing. And I think,
Ray Hubbard,
best players in the country here. So we're constantly going back and forth every day, whether it's offense, defense, whatever it is. We're going against us DBs. We go against the best receivers in the country every day. The D-line is going against the best offensive line, like linebackers, whatever it is. We're going against each other and competing against each other every day.
So, the level of intensity is definitely different. Here, I say there's a lot more guys.
Parker Brailsford.
Built to that standard. A lot more guys that are just build with their techniques and stronger. But I definitely say that's what helps me be ready to play on Saturday.
For me, this is what I was missing last year, and I almost not regret, but wish I would have been here last spring as well, just because I felt like we built so much team chemistry in this spring. I feel like that's the foundation of what our team is gonna lean on in December, November.
Who is to dominate? Really strike fear into the man in front of me.
LT Overton.
That's how I go about my day every day. Every day on the practice field, because how I go about it. Practice, games, scrimmage, doesn't matter. I'm better than you. That's just how I feel.
Seeing all the young guys make plays, man. Seeing all the new transfers and stuff come in and being able to have an impact. We see guys like Atir Brooks and Dijon Lee. We see guys like that, come in and have an immediate impact. Guys that are young but play the game at a high level. And then we have guys like Nikhil Green, Cam Dewberry, Isaiah Horton, and just seeing them guys come in and really gel with the team so easily, man. That's really been a highlight to me, because just having togetherness in the team, that's how you make it far.
Yeah, in the weight room is where it all starts, and you build who you are physically, mentally. There's a toughness and a mindset that occurs when you walk in the weight room, and we have those facilities. We're blessed to have that, but we also are really blessed to have those people in there that you trust that every rep is meant for a reason, that it's there to help you, and our guys are all in on what we do in all areas of program, but especially that one.
That is Alabama.
Ray had killed somebody in that thing. I like that. I've liked him since he got there.
Ray Hubbard is a beast.
Yeah.
He was one of the last DBs that Coach Saban kind of personally recruited and evaluated, and he was a quarterback in Ocean Springs, Mississippi. And if you look at his background, Wes, and you study Tommy Wilcox and the way Wilcox kind of came up in high school football, it's a lot of the same.
Well, Coach Bryant used to sign all quarterbacks. If you were an athlete and you played quarterback, you came down. I mean, Tommy Wilcox ran the option better than anybody I've ever seen. He used to do it in practice. They couldn't stop it. And the only reason that he didn't play quarterback because he was the captain of the defense.
Yeah.
He went to the USFL, and he could have gone anywhere. Went to the USFL, was the first pick, had 123 tackles at safety his rookie year, and had a vertebrae messed up in his neck and never played again. But
I think even
I cannot tell you what a great player he is, and I think Drew hit the nail on the head of how he plays. He has the same chin. Sitting there looking at his picture that Tommy had.
Well, no, what was the funny thing about Bray Hubbard, too, is he kind of got discovered late in his football career in high school. He was committed when he was early in his high, and I think by the time he was a sophomore in high school in Ocean Springs to Southern Mississippi for baseball, which has a very good program.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they laid waste to a really good Troy team this past weekend and swept them. And now if Troy doesn't win the Sun Belt Conference tournament, I saw one projection where Troy's been ranked in the top 20 all year. They were last 4 in. Wow. And Southern Mississippi could even host because Alabama did beat Southern Miss. Alabama beating Southern Miss and Coastal Carolina and NC State out of conference may really help them. But Bray, he was committed to Southern Mississippi, and then Mississippi State offered him in football. And I think he was either committed or was about to commit to him. And then he went to Alabama for a camp. And Nick Saban basically told him, like, you know, I want you. He personally recruited him. And the funny thing is, I'd say the majority of his time in high school, just like Wilcox, was as a quarterback.
Yeah,
and he made plays with his arm, with his legs. If you talk to Jake Wimberly, I know you guys know Jake. Yeah. He'll tell you he's one of the best athletes, if not the best athlete in Mississippi. And he put me in touch with a guy in Ocean Springs that I had on Talking Ball that just couldn't stop talking about him, and just said basically he only played defense situationally when they absolutely had to have a stop. But he did a great job. And then it took him a while to learn Alabama's scheme, but everybody saw what happened last year. There was no drop off when Sabb got hurt.
No, I thought he played better.
Yeah, he may. And with Sabb being injured a lot of that time, you're right. I mean, he played even better. He's very physical, has a nose for
Tennessee
the
game
ball.
stands out to me.
Yeah, that's when he had to come in.
Yeah.
But the next games, he had interceptions almost in every game.
Yeah. That's why I was thinking.
You look when Coach Bryant was at Alabama, you look at all those guys that played in the secondary, every one of them was a quarterback in high school. Every one of them.
Recruit the best athlete.
Right.
And your best athlete is usually playing quarterback.
No question.
Usually.
And who was the guy that just got drafted that the wide receiver for Ole Miss was the quarterback in high school. And Malik Neighbors was the
Trey was the QB.
Yeah. So you look at we just talked about Tommy Wilcox. You look at Jeremiah Castile. All those guys played quarterback in high school. It was crazy.
That little bit of what we show that is being aired right now on the SEC network. It further, solidifies to me, Drew, of your expectations. And I know it's year 2. There was talking to a certain friend of ours down in Tuscaloosa. I know he had a very high expectation on year 1, but there's always usually a bump here and there for year 1 of any program. And the way it feels to me, like Alabama's back. If they were ever gone.
They were never gone. They just, they lost some tough games just like Auburn did. But, they, because of what Coach Saban had built. And I'll be honest, if they had won the bowl game and played better, it would have
down the stretch was pretty painful.
They had 12 turnovers. 12 turnovers last 3 games.
The Oklahoma game.
They didn't play good against Oklahoma. They didn't play good against Auburn. Auburn had.
They should have beat Auburn 49-10.
Well, the problem was Auburn had just as many turnovers as Alabama.
That's right. Yeah.
And then you look at the way they played Michigan was horrific.
A game of I don't want to win. No, I don't want to win. No, you really don't understand. I don't want to win.
Instead of who's on first, who's at quarterback. That's what the hell that game was.
It was a sad ending.
What's that, Brian? What's that?
Who's on quarterback? Third down.
Well, so
sounds about right.
You look at the end of last year, and it's just unbelievable that this is the team twice during the year they look like the best team in the country.
Yeah, yeah. Georgia and LSU.
Yes, and the next week, the rest of the week, they didn't look like they were in the top 15, maybe in the top 20 in some of those. I mean, the Oklahoma thing was just
embarrassing.
It was embarrassing. I still think I'll argue to the day I die that if they scored a touchdown, if they counted the touchdown, they'd had a big
might have been different.
Yeah, could have had a chance to win again.
Illegal man
But
down.
it still does not change.
Oh no, Oklahoma
the way
balled out.
No, I'm just talking about it doesn't change the other three quarterbacks. I don't think Oklahoma balled out in that game.
I thought they did.
I thought Vanderbilt balled out. I thought Oklahoma. We turned the ball over twice, once for a touchdown on just awful plays. They were just horrendous.
If you watch that Oklahoma-Alabama
tape.
game, it was like the Keystone Cops coaching against each
Yeah.
other. It was bad. I mean, because the quarterback basically tanked, in the start of the third quarter. Remember the half, effort, let's just call it that, when he tried to trip the guy instead of even tackling him on the interception. And then Oklahoma, like what Wes is saying, Oklahoma in this regard was smart. Once they got up 24-10, why even hardly try to throw it?
Yeah,
take the air out of the ball.
Well, they lost a lot of games in the fourth quarter.
Oklahoma,
a lot of games, and with a lot of turnovers. And that's why if that would have counted, I think they would have got the pucker factor 10.
If memory serves, I think that's what they did in their game at Auburn too, of going up and then just trying to let the air out of the ball.
Well, no, Auburn threw that pick six.
That's right.
Auburn just runs the ball. They're going to beat Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, they continued to throw it. It was just, I was watching it, at a basketball game going into shock. I couldn't believe it. I was like, you have to be kidding me. They're throwing the ball. And then Hugh threw him under the bus and basically said it was an RPO and you have to decide. Well, I mean, I'm sitting there thinking, just tell them to run it.
They totally, there's a total. It was a blitz, and they knew exactly where they were going with the ball. Yep. They knew the route better than Auburn did.
I mean, because, again, if people remember, it was a terrible first half. And Alabama got some bad breaks, could have had a touchdown that was called back, things of that nature. But they were still right in the ball game at the start of the third quarter.
I thought that was a touchdown as well.
And I thought Alabama would, even though they were playing very poorly, I still thought, okay, Oklahoma is not explosive. Alabama can get stops defensively.
Just couldn't turn the ball over.
And then put together a couple drives and win the game ugly. But they turned
lost
it over.
It really ugly.
Yeah, by turning the ball over, because that's where Milroe, the difference between Milroe as a junior and Milroe as sophomore, as a redshirt sophomore and a redshirt junior, is under Saban and Tommy Rees. And Rees got heat, and I don't think he deserved it. He didn't turn it over nearly as much, but he turned it over tons and this is the difference in coaches. If you watch Kalen DeBoer, and again, it almost turned into I thought it was another disaster of a coaching malpractice against South Carolina, even though they won.
That's right.
Because they had a lead going into halftime. We've already talked about this. And then he continued to be aggressive with the quarterback, telling him to throw it down the field. And with a guy like Milroe, you got to protect yourself.
Well, it doesn't matter. With anybody with 15 seconds, you're on your 30. You down the ball and go in.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just stupidity. That was the stupidest play of the year.
And maybe Ryan Grubb's return and him being the bad cop, maybe that stuff stops.
Well,
but he wants his quarterbacks to be aggressive. And then you have to be aggressive. But the one term that I've been hearing Kalen DeBoer use a lot. Now, I haven't listened to that. He did another interview. He's been going around doing a lot of interviews, a lot more than Saban did, because he loves the media. And Coach Saban would pick and choose.
He's the media now.
Yeah, exactly. But it just was he uses vision, the word vision, because the vision of the quarterback. You got to see the field, and there was a lot of short and intermediate routes that Milroe didn't see. Now he can rip throws, like some deep balls that a lot of people can't do. It's just what I've always said about it. He'll do that a couple of times, but then the short and intermediate, just what are you doing? And he was just so inconsistent that hurt because you'd see Ryan Williams open, you'd see Jeremy, and they would just be like,
first half of the Georgia
where
game.
Are you at?
I mean,
wide open, man. You know,
There was a couple NFL throws in that first half. In
but
Tuscaloosa.
he ripped those against Georgia. He ripped them against Wisconsin. He made
You got to
several
prepare
unbelievable
every
throws.
week.
Yeah.
If you don't prepare 1 week, it shows. And go back and look at the pick six. What and the whole. I'm not sure. Go watch everybody. I mean, from the receivers to the. I don't think everybody was on the. I don't think anybody was on the same page. It looked like it was multiple people that messed up on that play. Multiple. Go watch it.
Yeah, and I just think they always talked about Milroe being first in the building, but was he studying film correctly? Because we talked about that on Talking Ball this morning. Robert Griffin III and Kurt Warner going back and forth on social media about
a lot
that.
of people in our building you find sleeping.
Yeah,
so they can be in the building. They don't be there to wait.
Well, and then there were some other things, but you know.
Let's go ahead and take a timeout, shall we? We're live, and nobody's sleeping here at Jefferson's. I'll tell you that. We'll final 30 with the Armin comes up next as we're live here from Jefferson's. Final 30 of the week for us.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Where's the best place for sports? What about the best place for wings? If you answered Jefferson's for both, you're right. Jefferson's is also a great place for value. Every Monday, kids eat free with the purchase of an adult meal, and teachers bring your teacher ID, and you eat free every first Tuesday of the month up to $15. And Owens Crossroads, Jefferson's will be opening a new location at 326 Sutton Road very soon. Jefferson's, best place for sports, best place for wings. Hampton Cove, and soon in Owens Crossroads. Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
It's an amazing time in our industry. Things are changing so rapidly. With digital signatures and workflow software, we help our customers work from anywhere. This helps you save time and money and upgrade your technology. Like I said, it's an amazing time to watch our customers grow and succeed.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Is your concrete sinking? Whether it's your driveway, sidewalk, or patio, those uneven surfaces are not just ugly, they're dangerous. That's where AFS comes in, a groundworks company. They use state-of-the-art concrete lifting solutions to prevent tripping hazards, and they're the best at what they do. Schedule your free inspection at afsrepair.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
There's power in caring when it is put into action. Each year, our bankers serve on nonprofit boards, support our local educators, and volunteer with our hometown food bank. I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryan Bank, and community service is just not a line item in our mission statement. It's who we are. Because after all, Alabama is our home too. That kind of commitment to community might not be what you would expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give us a call or stop by one of our 2 offices in the Huntsville area and experience unbeatable service and legendary results.
Bryan Bank Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID 2428943, member FDIC.
Tom Abraham here for Valley Equipment Rental. You know, if you're a contractor installing fences, you need Valley Equipment Rental for augers of all sizes. And if you need a forklift to get those shingles up high on a roof, Valley Equipment has 10K lifts that reach to 56 feet. Valley also has tow-behind lifts that have a working height of 35 to 55 feet as well for power washing those 2-story homes or doing whatever else you need to do. Lifts, forklifts, tow-behind lifts, 35 feet and up. They have your lift at Valley Equipment Rental.
Rental. 2 locations, North and South Parkway. Valley Equipment Rental.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
And now, a man who knows what you ate for breakfast.
Time now for the biggest thinker of them all.
He knows it all. He is Drew DeArmond. Listen to Drew and Scott Tyson weekday mornings. It's Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
But that's what never worked.
So later on this week, head over to our website. In fact, I was told Wednesday. So the day after tomorrow, head over to our website, 977ESPN.com. Click on the big zone deals in the upper left-hand corner of our homepage. Get $50 worth of Jeffersons for just $25. So check that out right now. Excuse me, on Wednesday, not right now. My mistake. Wednesday, it will be on the page as we welcome in Jefferson's into our big zone deals here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Glad to have them part of the family here because this is a family atmosphere out here at Jefferson's. A nice crowd on hand. We're in the bar area.
Got a bar with several tables.
Yep.
And then have a dining room as well if you want to eat with the kids. So
little corner suite as well here in Hampton Cove, and beautiful location, great food right here, and Brian Temple approved.
Yeah,
absolutely, 100%.
Coming to New Market soon.
That's right, coming to New Market soon. We'll be there in a couple.
And
of
I'll be
months.
along with a lot of other Gamecocks getting my zone deal Wednesday morning.
There you go.
There you go.
That would be Jacksonville. Or yes,
Jacksonville State.
Gamecock.
Or excuse me, Jack State. Yeah, but
that's right.
New Central. Just heard from Joe Tankersley. He was checking in on the way into Hartzell's graduation tonight. He's back from Memphis in May. He is a barbecue judge and said he had a full weekend and doesn't want to look at barbecue for a few more days. But he gave us some stuff to look. He didn't get a chance to check out the pulled pork slider eating contest. But he gave us some places to look for some information about that. He said he saw a lot of people trying to choke those down, but he didn't see the whole competition. So sometime when he's got a little more time, he's gonna share Memphis in May with us.
Thank you very much there, Brian. A little bit more here from Coach Kalen DeBoer. This is All In Alabama Spring Football, just aired on the SEC Network.
Yeah, I mean, our growth in the program is going to happen in all ways, athletically, academically, socially, spiritually. We want that career development to happen. And that's opportunities, the network you're building, to all be part of the experience here at Alabama. And, academically, I couldn't be more proud of what our staff does coaching wise alongside with our academic staff. And then the players just doing the work in the classroom. Last fall, we ended with 3.24 GPA, 95 of 130 players had a 3.0. That piece right there, eliminating distractions while you're making the progress towards something that no one can take away from you. That's a degree. That's a big deal in our program. And I'm super proud of the way the guys take ownership in that as well.
So I've been doing this for about 15 years. And the biggest thing, having seen a lot of football success, is that those two things go together rather than are in opposition to each other. So this is what I always tell kids, and I know Coach DeBoer preaches this, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So doing well academically doesn't take away from doing well football-wise. I've seen a lot of great players come through, and I can only think of one or two exceptions to the rule that great players are great students because they know how to show up on time, put in effort, prepare, show up to perform on test day, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I think the one thing I would say is there's a different set of skills that come with being a student than that would come with being a football player. So our big approach is to I would say we have a relational and independent individual approach. coach. So everybody who comes, we want to build a relationship with them to try to understand what their goals are. And we want to individually set up their support to address their specific sets of strengths and weaknesses, which we all have, right? So for each kid, and I just have the honor of leading a team of like amazing women. I get credit for the stuff they do all the time. So it's really them. And what they do is they build a relationship with each student and figure out right wherever they are, meet them right where they are, and then try to figure out what's getting in their way if they're not having the academic success that they want to have. Very similar to probably what the coaches are doing over here. So what we're trying to do is identify the barriers and then strategize with the student and with their support system, coaches, parents, etc., on how we're going to overcome that barrier. So our core belief is that every student can be successful, every student can graduate in the way that they want, in the measure that they want. It's just about figuring out how to help them set the path to get them there.
That's
I think you just said get your ass to class.
We need a 30 for 30 on Wes's tutor from the SEC network.
Quiet carrot.
I'm going to reach out when we go down to the spring meetings, figure out if we can.
I'm friends with him on Facebook now.
Must see TV. Must see TV.
I don't know how many other people had that rolling through their head, but I sure did.
I actually had two tutors. Two of them.
We'll take it really for 30.
Yeah, really good friends, and they're. But my first tutor, who you're talking about, his name should be on my degree. I could paint him. He should have signed my degree. No doubt.
Yeah, absolutely.
But everything we did, it wasn't like I was cheap or anything. But it was, if everybody had that kind of...
Man, all I'm saying is, like, my old basketball coach, Rich Falavision at Auburn, he and his wife, he told me, hey, you got to know people, You know what I'm
saying? But, most people had, they'd get a tutor for one subject.
Yeah.
I just had one tutor.
Just across the board.
Across the board.
Yeah. I mean, I took at the last second, I changed my schedule in my senior year of high school at Huntsville High, and I didn't want to take another math class because I sucked at it. And I didn't want to take algebra 2. So I figured out computer science as a math credit. So Coach Mark Mincher taught it. So I changed my schedule for the first day of school. And I was in there.
You're having the right teachers.
And then, they wanted you to pair up on a lot of projects. Found me a dude named Ting Wang. And he, as Coach Mitchell used to call him, Brother Ting. He's like, Drew doing it the smart way, following up with Brother Ting. And I'm just telling you, he was a whiz kid, man.
Well, you want to pick the right players for your team. That's what you want to do.
Question.
It's all recruiting.
It's all recruiting. No question.
It is all recruiting.
Got an A in computer science, brother.
It is all recruiting.
If I had a picture of when I met Joe Gocut, who was my tutor, it wouldn't. You would never would have pictured him.
Yep. Good old Joe.
30 for 30.
Yeah. He asked me how I did last semester, and I said, not very good. He says, well, I'm taking over. I said, okay.
Oh, Lord.
The ACC distributed a record $45 million per school in the academic year 23-24.
Which is about half of what the SEC is going to do.
And Big Ten.
Well,
then that's the issue with them.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
generated $711 million overall, according to new tax documents.
Which is probably 4 times what they did 5 years ago, right? Still growing for them.
Yeah.
Well. Right.
But keep in mind, not everybody's getting that full 45. SMU still has a couple more years left.
They're fine. Don't worry.
I know.
Oh, they got more money to know what to do with.
Yeah.
But the television contract for the ACC, that is the anchor. That thing, they've got a television deal that goes to 2036. So
wow,
it's
in the Grannon rights. Yep. That's what's been the issue, because that's why Clemson's been trying to get the hell out in Florida State. But here's the problem: they haven't been invited.
Florida State's team left a little bit early last year.
Neither one of them have. I don't think the SEC would be that interested in. Now, they would have interest in the Big Ten, but I'm not sure the Big Ten would have interest in them either. I think they would be going to the Big 12.
Yeah,
and I'm not sure their financial position would improve much going there.
I don't think so either.
So that's
Well,
probably
both
why
had their
it's kind
chance
of
to
calmed
join the
down.
SEC.
Well, yeah, years ago, Coach Bowden had a chance to do it, and Clemson did too, and they both wanted to stay in the ACC.
It's easy to remember. It's 1991 because Bowden said nobody will ever win the national championship with that kind of schedule.
Well, we heard it from both Coach Bowden and Mickey Andrews.
Yeah,
on that whole ordeal.
No,
there was no playoff back then.
We're
They
not
wanted the
guessing
easiest.
about any of this.
No,
And
we're
they
not.
wanted the easier path. They worked. I mean, they won 2 national championships, but at the same time, now they're in a worse financial position. And last year they were horrendous. They did because the portal can work and then the portal can blow up in your face, and it's worked both ways for Florida State. And now, they've got Gus Malzahn coaching them offensively, and they're going to have Castellanos at quarterback. It's going to be really interesting to see how they attack Alabama and if they can mesh, because the majority of their team is from the portal. I mean,
I can guess a couple of plays that Gus is going to call right out of the gate.
They did salvage the recruiting class a little bit, but the majority of it was portal driven.
Well, I mean, they're going to need portal guys because I don't know how much of their team did they have any kind of base of their team left. And we never dwelled much in the Gus Malzahn deal. I mean, what is Florida State paying him?
I don't know that answer.
What was we need somebody.
I think it's like 1.5.
We need somebody from Central Florida to explain what exactly happened down there, because that whole deal it kind of happened right after in the middle of everything. We never really talked about it. It was kind of a shock, and here we go. We know the triple reverse pass is going to be it's a staple, and we haven't covered it yet. So I'm hoping working on it. We worked on it in the spring.
I think Gus was going to be given one more year to get rolling at UCF.
Well,
I don't think
3-0 start, and then all of a sudden they fell off a cliff.
And now they're in the Big 12, and they're not in the American Athletic. I don't think he saw a path.
I just remember that Colorado game where they just got thumped in their own backyard there at the Bounce House. Let's do this. Crawdad, stick with me if you can. We'll have you on the other side of our final timeout. We're live here at Jefferson's. We'll be right back. Final call for phone calls next. That looks good right there.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying roll tide and war eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
Hey there, Bob Baumhauer again. Baumhauer's Victory Grill is extremely proud to have recently received numerous awards, including being voted best wings in the state of Alabama. Other awards received include Best All-Around Restaurant, Best American Restaurant, #1 Sports Bar, Best Chef, Best Wings, and Best Dining Experience. Thank you for 43 legendary years, and we look forward to providing you an award-winning dining experience at every visit. Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Legendary fun, legendary food.
Have you ever turned your back on God? Have you ever absolutely known the right thing to do and just turned around and walked away in disobedience? I know that I have. Aren't we thankful for our great and merciful God who loves us and forgives us and remembers our sin no more? I'm so thankful that his mercies are fresh every day. I need that, and I suspect you do too. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, and if you're looking for a church home, come see us. We're smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison, and check us out at cpcfamily.org.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all?
I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Tom Abraham here for my friends at Your Home Window Company. When it comes to replacement windows, exterior doors, or new window screens, Your Home Window is the answer anywhere in Huntsville, Athens, Decatur, or Hartselle. Your Home Window windows and doors are made here in the USA and come with a lifetime warranty. When replacing those old windows or doors, Your Home Window has the solution for you. In-home estimates are always free and financing is available. Learn more at yourhomewindow.com and see clearly with Your Home Window. Visit yourhomewindow.com to make an appointment today.
From the Fox 54 Weather Impact Team, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. A mostly cloudy sky expected for this Monday night. Low temperatures falling into the lower 70s. Heading into our Tuesday, though, a Fox 54 Weather Impact Alert Day has been declared for strong to severe thunderstorms to develop Tuesday afternoon into Tuesday night. High temperatures warming into the upper 80s for the afternoon. I'm Fox 54 meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
There's the phone and no one to answer.
256-576-4977.
And as a result, we got many, many phone calls and letters.
Give us a call on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline today. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Final call for phone calls, as we are going to be done here on the drive, although be sure and stay tuned for Talking Ball, and there'll be 15 minutes of the Blitz
The best
tomorrow.
15 minutes ever.
Clearly.
Don't worry, the Board Op Radio Network has you covered for the SEC baseball tournament all along.
What he said. Let's talk to Crawdaddy. He's got a tutoring story he wants to share with the class. The floor is yours, Crawdaddy.
Hey, guys. You talking about Drew's tutor and Wes's tutor reminded me of a story. Pretty funny. West Point senior year, we had to design a bridge and build it out of popsicle sticks. And so my buddy and I were okay at engineering, but not that good. And we hooked up with a friend of mine who was really good and another guy, and they were talking about how they were going to do it. And I said, well, what do you want us to do? And he said, I just want you guys to provide me with the popsicle stick. So they designed the bridge and put it together, and we ate popsicles. I gave him.
You know, that's as far as I got into civil engineering,
that's
too.
a tough job, and somebody's got to do it, right?
Yeah.
Got to pass that.
But, you know, we did actually help a little bit. But our main job was to eat popsicles and give him sticks. So,
and sniff the glue. Tell the truth.
No, we didn't sniff the glue. That was that was above our pay grade.
That's artillery, right?
Yes, artillery. That's Crawdaddy. Oh, goodness gracious. Again, if you'd like to get $50 worth of Jeffersons, it'll be
move on up.
Yeah, that's right. Well done. You can check out our website, 977ESPN.com, on Wednesday. Wednesday is when that will be launching, but there is quite a few big zone deals that you can enjoy right now, including some rounds of golf at Gunner's Landing and Cherokee Ridge at the moment as well, coming off of the PGA Championship. It's honestly still hard for me to wrap my head around PGA Championship this early in the calendar. It just feels weird. But Scotty Scheffler, the at one point in jail last year, with an incident that he had with police, now is once again hoisting up another major championship trophy there on the PGA World. So, but beginning tomorrow morning is the SEC baseball tournament. Now, Kyle Schasberger, Drew, did not really give any day one teams a shot at winning this. If there is one team that is playing on day one, I'd say it's Alabama.
Well, they've got to win. Tyler Fay looks like he's going to take the bump. He's done a nice job on Friday nights, getting deeper into games, had some really tough luck. He had a really rough first inning against Mizzou, some of the worst luck you'll ever see. He gave up 5 runs, but then basically put four plus shutout innings on the table, and then Alabama came back and won the game 7-5. They need to win that game to stay in the hosting conversation, and in my opinion, probably win 2 and knock out the Tennessee Vols. Tennessee's still trying to fight for a host, and what better to do than to knock Tennessee out of the tournament and send them to a 2 seed somewhere. Now, I did hear you guys talking earlier in the show, and I do think it's kind of blasphemy that Mississippi State would be considered a 3. I would think they'd be a 2, being 15-15 in the SEC. And I think they probably will be a 2 when it's all said and done.
Especially how they've ended the year.
I mean, if you're gonna have a 3, then Kentucky potentially. But even though I would be very nervous if I were Kentucky, I think Kentucky needs to win some games. And so because right now I think the SEC, in my opinion, I think Alabama should host. I think they should have 9 hosts. But I mean, I know that's 9 of the 16, so there'll be a lot of heck raised. But I just think it's that good a league. I'm sorry. Just like in softball, I think 7 of the top 8 were from the SEC, and you had 9 SEC teams go ahead and advance.
Well, I think they're guaranteed to have 3 in Oklahoma.
Yeah,
Oklahoma City.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if they got at least 4 through, and that's half the field. So we'll see. But certainly, I think Alabama just needs to be worried about winning that first game against Mizzou. Then you play the same time, 9:30 on Wednesday against Tennessee, who took 2 out of 3 from you in Tuscaloosa. And that was a tough series loss because Alabama took game 1. But, I've mentioned that I felt like Alabama let the Mississippi State series at home get away from them, definitely Vandy and Florida. I didn't say that about Tennessee because Tennessee's immensely talented, and I thought Tennessee just outplayed Alabama the last 2, just like Auburn. Nearly swept Alabama, but Alabama did steal one of those games. And so I think Auburn's really good. I think Auburn, if they're not already locked up a top 8 national seed, if they win their first game, I think they've locked that up. I think Butch Thompson's group's been really good. I think they've got the number 1 strength of schedule. And I think they're in the top 2 or 3 in the RPI as well. So their RPI is really good. Alabama's is in the top 10. So that's why they've built a strong
resume-wise.
But they don't have any bad losses, but Missouri would be one. So you don't want to leave that taste in anybody's mouth. You better come out ready to play tomorrow, send Missouri home for the year, and then, get ready to play a really talented Tennessee squad.
Auburn has turned 54 double plays this season. That's tied with South Carolina for most in the SEC and ranks top 10 in D1 baseball and has a fielding percentage of .981 for Auburn as well.
Yeah, they're good. Ike Iris is healthy now. He's one of the best hitters in the league, maybe the best hitter when he's healthy. He's a future pro. And Alabama, they need ideally they need Fay to go 5 or 6 innings tomorrow, and then go to their bullpen, and then you get you take your chances with your best guy. In my opinion, their best guy is Riley Quick. I think he's going to be a first-round pick, and you have him going against Tennessee on Wednesday.
Cobb salad approved.
Very, very good. Very good. I love that last segment.
Well, you're really going to love the rest of the week then.
Yeah. No, I don't like it when we're not on.
But next week,
we got
beach bound.
Something special. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in Destin. And all the news that came out last year, we were on top of it. Steve was the one that was breaking it and asking the right questions. And hopefully they'll figure some of the questions out that we asked last year. So far, nothing. Yeah.
Big thank you to Jefferson's for hosting us. We'll talk to you next week.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. Your home of the Crimson Tide Sports Network. This hour of the Paul Feinbaum Show is brought to you by Sensagreen Heating, Cooling, and Insulation.
The weekend's full of surprises. From Williams Price to Death Valley. On the Feinbaum